just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot wings.
No, let me tell you, I don't have to look at this objectively at all.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week. Joining me tonight, I've got Dan and Preston from the North End podcast. My apologies, Dan. North End podcast, that's what I've got to get right. I had a myriad of different names for the name of your show during this. We're going to be talking up the this weekend's upcoming game at Hillsborough as Sheffield Wednesday entertain Preston North End in... Dan, welcome to the show, pal. You all right?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. It's a slog being a Sheffield Wednesday fan right now, as you can probably imagine. Just to let the viewers / listeners know, we are recording this on Wednesday afternoon, so we've not yet played Millwall. So we're going to see how that pans out. So we're going to talk quite hypothetically. However, you guys had a run out last night against Watford. Any signs of improvement?
Well, you're probably playing us at the perfect time. This is probably the weakest that we've been. I know every championship fan of a team will say this. We're plagued with injuries. The spine of our team is all out. So it was a real patched up team that played at Watford last night. And I think most North End fans were happy to get a draw. If you'd played us a month ago, it would have been.
Yeah, you were flying.
Yeah, but we've had so many injuries. Luckily, we've got a bigger squad than we normally would do.
I recorded one of these with a Millwall fan last night, and he said that the injuries are starting to come in, and there's a significant amount of similarities between yourselves and Millwall right now, both at the top end of the league. And you're higher than they are. You've failed to win in the last 3. I believe the injuries have kicked in then. They failed to win in the last 4, but they have got the Wednesday tonight, so we could end up kickstarting their season. Are you kind of looking at this weekend as the same sort of thing to try and get some confidence on the board, take a look up, or is there any degree of trepidation right now?
I'll be honest, until these last couple of games with these injuries, I think for the first time as a North End fan in a long time, we've almost expected to beat whoever we've played, which sounds ridiculous coming from a Preston fan, but we beat Ipswich, Leicester, and a lot of people are saying that it's like a bit of I would expect the same. If you just didn't watch us every week and you looked at the league table, you'd be like, oh, Preston up there, they'll drop out of it. But this is easily our best championship squad in the last decade, I'd say comfortably.
You were knocking on the door for a while, and I know how many years I'm going back. I'm going back about 15 years now, where you were up there when Cardiff were pushing for promotion and into the Premier League. And I think I am literally going back to about 2010, 2011, aren't I? And then it's been mid-table mediocrity. Sounds harsh, because being a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I would have dreamed for mid-table mediocrity for the last 15 years. You know what I mean? But there doesn't seem to be a kick on from Preston. Do you feel like this is going to be your best chance to move up or to at least finish playoffs?
100% our best chance. I think we always, each season, we'll get some loan signings in. We have like Alvaro Fernandez, who's at Real Madrid, Cameron Archer, Cannon, obviously, that you probably don't want to speak about after Sunday. But so we've had those on loan, but I think we've got a collective we've got 3 central midfielders who I think all 3 of them will go on to play in the Premier League, who obviously aren't going to be with us next season. Harrison Armstrong, who is probably going to be out on Saturday. He's 18 on loan from Everton, and he will be in Everton's first team. He's 18. He runs every game that he plays in, well, majority in the Championship. We've got Lewis Dobbin, who is on loan from Aston Villa. He's sort of like a Championship version of Morgan Rogers. And you've got Alfie Devine on loan from Spurs, who has been fantastic. So I don't think the cards are going to fall that well for us. Getting 3 loan signings of such quality. Like, if you're playing Preston, you expect, they'll defend well, maybe try and get a goal on the break. I don't feel like we've played like that a lot this season. I think we've gone toe-to-toe with most teams that we've played.
You've notably had Daniel Jebison on loan from Bournemouth. How's he getting on? He seems to be doing all right. He's enjoying himself, isn't he?
He's doing really well. I think when he came in, because he's on loan at Watford last season, played 13 times, no goals. Everyone was like, what have we got here? But he come in and he worked hard at first and it wasn't really coming off for him, but he makes runs that allows the quality players behind him, Dobbin and Devine, space to run into. So he's looked lively, but it's been a bit stop-start. He's had a few injuries, which has sort of hampered him, but he's done well. 3 goals, so.
I've got to ask you about 2 players. I've got to ask you about Lewis Gibson, and I've got to ask you about Jordan Storey. Let's get into the latter first. I mean, we had Storey on loan, and I thought he was great. I was actually shocked we managed to get a player of that decent quality. How did we end up getting him?
I think so. He came in when he was about 19, probably about 6 years ago now, and he was very raw. The first season he came in, I wouldn't say many North End fans wanted him to be a starter. He got the loan to you, and then you were in League One then, weren't you? Were you in League One? Yeah, and he did really well for you. He came back, and he sort of felt like a little bit of a different player. North End fans have got on his back a little bit, but I'd say the last 2 seasons, he's been a very solid Championship defender for us. He's been good this season.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see. He was quite a popular figure at Hillsborough when he came, but then again, so was Mark McGuinness, and then he signed for the Blades. So fuck that guy. You know what I mean? There's an element of that. And then let's get into Lewis Gibson. Now, for those of you that have played Footy Manager the last 10 years, Lewis Gibson's one of them names that if you're a Championship club comes up a lot. And you get him in on loan, and he's like one of your best players and all the rest of it. But we had him, and it didn't land. It didn't go to plan. I think he had a couple of poor performances or average performances. But then I think the gaffer at the time wasn't playing a formation that suited him, and he ended up going back. Since then, we've had he's had a number of clubs, hasn't he? I want to say Plymouth were in there.
Yeah, he was at Plymouth. Yeah.
Has it landed for him then? Where with you guys?
He has been absolutely fantastic since we've had him. He's playing in the middle of the 3. He is. So we've got a lot of injuries. We've got Osmajic up top, who's probably people would say our star striker. Midfielders, our biggest miss is him in the middle. We've got Liam Lindsay who comes in and fills. He does all right when he comes in, but Gibson, he's been a Rolls Royce for us the last almost 12 months now.
He's been talked about, hasn't he, a lot about being a future star. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm happy for him that he's managed to live up to that name a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you said to anyone who's our best defender, any PNE fan, I think they'd all point to Gibson over he likes a Storey. Like I'd say 99 out of 100 would say Gibson, our best defender.
Okay, let's get into start of the season expectations then. So we're only in November. I say only, we're about a third of the way through the season. Were playoffs where you thought you'd go, or were you thinking here's another 11th, 10th, 12th?
No, not at all.
PNE, and then, or did you do like what everybody else does and goes, I reckon we'll get playoffs this year?
I think after we're used to finishing mid-table, and then Heckingbottom come in and he did the unthinkable and managed to get us down to 20th. So I'll be honest, I had a bit of a reservation going into this season. I think when I came on the TalkSport show, I was like, about 16th, 15th. But after that, that's when we got the 3. So when I came on there, we didn't have any of the 3 loan players.
No.
So, and I do think without those 3, we'd be near the bottom of the table. That's how important they are to us. So yeah, it is a bit of a surprise, but we're in this position. So we ain't going to get 3 loan players of that quality again. Probably. We don't have a budget either to sign permanent players. So
yeah, but
got to be this season.
But expectations then now, like, so you're 5th and your expectations change, don't they? You know what I mean? You're like,
yeah,
well, hang on, I'm going to start looking like the league's starting to settle a bit now and all the rest of it. And you're looking at you guys in 5th thinking, if we don't get playoffs, I'm going to have the right mug on.
Yeah, that's what it is. If Heckingbottom would have got us to finish 14th at the start of the season, North End fans would have been satisfied by that. I dare say now, if we finish 9th or 10th, fans won't be too happy because I think they know that this is our best squad. It's easy from when you're looking from the outside, you're thinking Preston, they'll fall. This is our. You'll watch us on Saturday though, because we've got a couple of people missing and think, what was that lad on about on the podcast? They're just same as usual. But if we have our best 11 out, well, that's the problem with the Championship getting honestly that good this season.
Because looking at the playoffs, right? You've got Stoke, Bristol City, Preston North End, and Hull City, right? Hull City, I have no idea what right they've got to be in the playoffs right now. They've been shite for years, and all of a sudden they're absolutely hovering around getting promoted. I can't go through Hull City being a Premier League team again in my life. Now, looking below that, you've got Millwall that fancy themselves, especially that they've got us this evening as well. And then underneath, you've got relegated Ipswich from the Premier League. You've got high spending, Birmingham City, relegated Leicester City, all teams with a bit more depth, and they've got that ability to add in some longevity into their season. You must be looking at Bristol City and Stoke and thinking, I need to get up where you are, because those teams in 8th, 9th and 10th are going to crash the party a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. At the weekend, our fans were like, oh, Bristol City, what a chance that was. The teams around us haven't won. And I'm thinking, I'm more worried, like you say, Ipswich, who they're going to come good out the second half of the season. Southampton, I think, have won. We beat them at St. Mary's, then still got sacked, and they've won every game since. And they beat you, didn't they?
Yeah. They smashed us. Yeah, I was still ill from the away day, but I had a good day. I don't remember much football, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, we went there, won 2-0 the week before, but yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? The teams, but that's what I'm saying. This is why it's that usually at this stage of the season, you'd probably have Leeds, Burnley, top two, about 12 points clear of you. So to have those teams just below you, like a lot of our fans are thinking, go and get a striker in January, but we say that every time and we end up.
But you have got Michael Smith though, Dan. You know what I mean? The prolific Michael Smith.
He's caused a bit of a stir, that. So I was seeing all your fans are replying. So a lot of North End fans were on Twitter after Friday night's game against Black. He had a shocker. He had an absolute stinker. And a lot of people were tweeting about him. I seen all your fans replying saying, we'll have him back in January. There's the usual replies of, we'll drive him there ourselves. But he's been all right. I don't think we play to his strengths, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah, I think you need to play a certain type of football. So, for example, when he was at Rotherham and we were in League One, and the type of football you're playing at that level, especially with Darren Moore, he's good for that, right? He's perfect. So when Danny Roll came in and started trying to play sexier football, I think he even said to Smith, "You're not part of the plans." You know what I mean? And then I think injury and obviously chairman fiduciary trouble forced Danny Roll's hand to play him. And as a result, there was an element of him kind of taking that opportunity with both hands and ended up scoring a couple towards the back end of the season once all of a sudden he was a starter. I think I always use QPR away as a great example of where Michael Smith fits. So you've got him and Callum Patterson, who are just two big absolute units of a human being that will claw and fight for every ball and just kick 10 bells out of whoever's around them. So when you're on a smaller pitch like Loftus Road is, they can really perform. When you're on a big expansive pitch like the new builds, like I said, you put Middlesbrough, Riverside in that, or even St Mary's and Hillsborough itself, they look a bit lost. And so if you've got like QPR away is perfect for a Michael Smith type of player, if that makes sense, because it all of a sudden he's twice as big on that pitch.
Yeah, tight pitch in it, Loftus Road.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about that derby. So we're back on the back of a derby defeat ourselves, and we've got the right fucking mug on about it, Dan. I can't tell you, we know what sort of situation we're in. But what you want to see in a local derby specifically, or any game, but more so in a derby, is fight, endeavour, shit kicking. You know what I mean? I want to see a good couple of crunching tackles and things like that. We didn't have that on Sunday. But what's happened is all of a sudden now, because it's the local derby, there's a lot of questions getting asked around our manager, Henrik Pedersen, the guy who stuck with it, the guy who's trying to manage us through this entire shit show that we're having. But the head loss has been generational, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
What about you guys against Blackburn? Did you have that sort of same sort of fallout, or you sat there thinking, sharpening your knives for the return fixture at their gaff?
As much as Blackburn like to think they're big rivals of ours, we don't really see it like it. Blackpool are our biggest rivals.
Yeah, yours is Blackpool, innit? And probably Fleetwood have tried to crash the party. Fleetwood are like our Rotherham, aren't they?
Yeah, so we don't really think about it. So Blackburn are sort of like, I know they think they're like the big Premier League team or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like a little village, a little town 10 miles away. Their big day outs come into the big city down the road to them. So for them, that's like their cup final. But so for us, I did expect us to win on Friday night. That was the problem. Like I've been on here saying how good we look. So I was like, oh, my mate's got like Leeds, Everton fans. I was like, oh, you got to watch us Friday night. They all tuned in to watch it. And I was like, oh, saved our worst performance of the season. But it's one of those, I think the players have got that much credit in the bank so far this season. There wasn't really much of a social media for about an hour. But then people just, I say, we got a good point last night at Watford. So I don't think people too.
Yeah, like Watford are one of them teams where they are capable of smashing you 4-0 or getting smashed 4-0. You know what I mean? So, and I think, given, midweek, you've probably not got many fans gone down there on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? It's a long way to go. And to come away with a 1-1 draw at Watford's pretty credible, to be fair. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a disaster, but but because they're local rivals, it makes you feel like it is if you're down the road, and it kind of makes it worse. And that's, I guess that's the point I was making. So let's get into this weekend. Are there going to be any players, well, apart from Gibson that you mentioned, and you mentioned the injuries? Do you feel like there's going to be somebody that's going to surprise us?
Just Dobbin and Devine. If those two are on the starting 11, I think, like, not fair. I think we should go to your place and win. Without those two, because he does tend, he only gives them like an hour or something like that, and we're a completely different team without them. 55 minutes go, Dobbin seems to get subbed every time, but yeah, Dobbin and Devine.
Is that to defend a lead, or are you like one of those hell for leather teams? First 10 minutes, go at it, and then sit on it, or is it just patient build up, or that type of thing, or you haven't really got anything like that? It just happens when it happens.
I'd say we go for it to start off, but if we go, I think that's sometimes going to be the frustration. If we go 1-0 up, which happens, I think we've took lead quite a lot of games this season. We never seem to go on for the second. It's always like, right, how do we defend it? Like Watford, great case in point on last night. We seem to let them say, right, come on, now break us down. So that can be a little frustrating. Because I do think this season, as I've said about 8 times, I think we got a really good team.
I love how excited you are, Dan. You know what I mean? Normally, when I do these things and you talk to Preston fans, it's all very, we could win, we could lose, we're going to finish mid-table, see you later. And it's been like that for a number of years. But I must admit, you're actually quite excited about this season, aren't you? Like, I can hear it in your voice. There's a point of you that's like, yeah, we're having a good fucking season and we're going to have a right go at it and all.
It's what 10 years of mid-table mediocrity will do to you. Any little glimmer of hope and you're like, what a team this is.
Do you feel like, I don't know what your ownership structure is like, but let's say you went for it. You even stole second place from Middlesbrough, for example, as it stands right now. Do you feel like you would get backed by your ownership if you do went up? Because we're talking, you've got a number of decent players in there, but you still need to add 5 or 6 Premier League quality players. Do you feel like your ownership would do that?
Our owner is the sort of person who, despite being a billionaire, probably takes his own bags to the supermarket because he don't want to pay the 40p. So I really doubt that. Peter Ridsdale has to work on a shoestring, basically. He's given X amount of money at the start of each summer, and he's got that to work with, usually a couple of £1 million or something like that. So to be fair, the owners put the club up for sale, so he's open to offers. So maybe he'll change. You know what? We might get little playoff run, and he might think, "Do you know what, maybe I won't sell." But yeah.
Yeah, maybe, because when the money goes up, all of a sudden they start tightening the purse strings, don't they? When the prize money goes up and all, and it's more to lose in the Premier League, financially more money to lose in the Premier League than it is to get promoted out of the Championship. You know what I mean? All of a sudden they'll think, I might not sell this year, might give it a rest, like, you know what I mean?
He might put his hand in his pocket and pay for a carrier bag. Who knows?
Well, who knows?
You never know.
Ridsdale, I must admit, I've slagged Ridsdale off for about 25 years now, and I've been sat looking at Preston, waiting for them to fall apart, so I can go, didn't I tell you about Peter Ridsdale? You know what I mean? Did you kind of have any trepidation when he went in? Because this is like his third or fourth club now, isn't it?
Yeah, so he came in. We were in League One at the time, and within a couple of years, we went from towards like lower end of League One, and we're pushing for the playoffs. Then we get promoted, and to be fair, he loves to say this himself. We've got one of the lowest budgets in the league. I think the lowest place we've finished in like 9 seasons since promoted until Heckingbottom came in was 14th. So really, that's pretty solid going, no lower than 14th. So our fans loved it. Well, it's all gone quiet now. It was all Ridsdale out at the end of last season. I've not heard a peep since. So,
yeah, since your playoffs, it's weird how that goes missing, isn't it? How people stop singing about that. We've got Norwich down the road, aren't they? They're I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody singing about the director of football before. But they are absolutely obsessed with trying to get out this Ben Napper that they've got.
I know. Did they spend loads? Did they spend 30 million in the summer? They spent something like that, didn't they? And I think they spent a lot last season as well.
But let's be honest, the reason it's fallen to shit for them is because that Josh Sargent isn't firing on all cylinders, and they've been relying on him last 4 years. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Let's not fuck about. But let's have a score prediction from you, Dan. Let's have a score prediction for you for this weekend.
I'll go 3-0 North End.
You go 3-0.
Yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident. It might come back to haunt me.
I like your confidence, because bear in mind, but there is an element of, right, we've not won at Hillsborough for what seems like 20 years now. We've only scored something like 2 goals. I think I saw a statistic that we've had 3 home wins since April 24 or something. I can't remember. I'll have to double check that. But
I had a look. 1 home win in 20.
Is that what it is? Is that what we've got?
1 win. Yeah.
Ooh, imagine being that club. You'd be devastated, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? But there is, and that's what's happened since the turn of the year, since Danny Rowell had his head turned by Southampton. We've been on the pitch an absolute spiral, and now the back of house issues have now manifested themselves onto the pitch this season because we had so many players leave. We are a soap opera. There was, up until Sunday, I would sit here now and go, there's a fight, there's an endeavour. Barry Bannon's done really well galvanising these bunch of reserves and these kids. However, after Sunday, I'm sat here thinking, Ed's gone, they're done. You know what I mean? Until we get some investment. I mean, December the 5th has been earmarked as when we might get our new owners bids in properly, and it's going to be a landmark day in terms of our new ownership, and let's say that gets over the line and then we can buy big in January. It's going to be a tough old slog this season. We're already ready for League One football, but you might hear some angry Yorkshiremen kicking off unless we just at least score a fucking goal. That'd be lovely. You know what I mean? That'd be nice. Yeah. But Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, sir. North End podcast, yes?
Yeah, North End podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. I'll be doing a podcast a couple of hours after the game on YouTube. So if any Sheffield Wednesday fans want to listen to me talk about you probably beating us 1-0 after how confident I've been on this show, then yeah.
I'll send you that clip of you saying 3-0 if we beat you 1-0. I'll ping you that over, mate. That'd be absolutely great. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot, Dan. See you later.
Yeah, perfect, Dan. See you later. Thank you.
See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week, bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you modern references.
I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David.
I should not have said that.
I should not have said that.
This shows like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. When, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. She.
I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put on your